All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, May 14th. We got a 17-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. Talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we did yesterday, we go 5-5, so we do lose a little bit off the top, but a lot of plays, a lot of entertainment, a lot of back and forth as well. Most notably that Rays money line there for +121. They were down a few runs in like the top of the 9th. They end up winning that one 11-9. So yeah, we did get our money's worth yesterday, even though we end up losing a little bit off the top. The Red Sox first 5, that was electric as well. So yeah, like I said, you know what? We technically paid for entertainment yesterday, but yes, was still a red day. Let's do a little bit better today. We have been very, very good in the MLB this season, so I don't want to lose that magic touch just yet, but obviously the crystal ball does go cloudy sometimes. But guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into these ones. We got the first leg of a doubleheader here with Baltimore taking on Minnesota. Kramer on the mound taking on Bailey Ober. This comes down to the offense for me. This is a Minnesota team that hits, doesn't hit righties better than they do lefties. Dean Kramer being a righty. He's actually been serviceable at home this year as well. And flip it over to the Baltimore offensive side of things. They hit righties a lot better than they do lefties. So Bailey Ober being a righty, I think gives this Orioles team a little bit of an offensive edge. But it is a doubleheader, and I tell you guys all the time, doubleheaders do not interest me all that much. You have the second game that can impact the first game just because of like the what ifs, right? But then by the time you get to the second game, anything that happened in the first game can totally throw a wrench into how you manage the second game, right? So it's like both games totally impact each other, and they're not standalone, and you can't just put them in a vacuum. So that's usually why I pass on doubleheaders here, but I'll lean towards, I guess we could say, Baltimore as well as the over. Looks like we'll have a little bit of wind. It's going to be, 21% chance of precipitation, nearly 70 degrees, so I don't think it's going to be all that bad weather either. And Bailey Ober and Dean Kramer, yes, they're serviceable, but both offenses, I could see putting up a decent number today, maybe like a 5-4 game, which would push at that number at 9. So give me the Baltimore Orioles as well as the over in this one. Next up, Philadelphia taking on St. Louis. Jesus Luzardo on the mound going up against Eric Fetty. This is also a first game of a doubleheader. I would say this kind of comes down to the lefty-righty splits. You have a Philadelphia team that hits righties really well, and again, it's a doubleheader, so I don't know how much weight I want to put into the metrics and the stats that we're looking at, but you do have a Jesus Luzardo pitching at home, going up against a St. Louis team that doesn't hit lefties well. And like I mentioned, this is a Philadelphia team that does hit righties well. Eric Fetty, not been all that great on the road. So simply, I think this is a Philadelphia spot. Now, I would probably consider Philadelphia team total, and I'd only really, when I do roll with, doubleheaders and make them final plays, I really only I try to only consider the first game because I feel like everything's out there and there's less factors, right, and less variables. So maybe a Philadelphia team total here, but again, knowing that they play later on in the day, against Sonny Gray, and then I think Nola's going for Philadelphia, does throw a little bit of a wrench into the plan. So I'm going to say Philadelphia and their team total over in this spot. I think Luzardo could pitch fairly well. Again, he's a lefty going up against a Cardinals team that kind of struggles against lefties. So yeah, give me the under, but that would be Cardinals team total under, and then the over side would be Philadelphia team total over. So kind of like two ships passing in the night, and then maybe Philadelphia first 5 run line. All right, I know we breezed through those first 2 heads of the doubleheader, but you know what? Now we got a game in which it's not part of a doubleheader, so we can get a little bit more nitty-gritty in this one. We have Milwaukee taking on Cleveland. Logan Henderson listed on the mound here for this Milwaukee squad. He's 1-0 with a 1.5 ERA. His whip was .67. He went up against the A's, though, and I don't know how much stock I want to put into that because we've seen some really good A's offense, we've also seen them lack this year. So yes, in his first start of the year, 6 innings pitched, just 1 earned run. It was a home run, 3 hits, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. So obviously the 23-year-old looks like he had some stuff, right? And I do think that is something promising, I guess, for Milwaukee. But Gavin Williams is on the other side of things, and Gavin Williams has looked okay at home. I would say that this is a Cleveland team that has the better offense and bullpen kind of in their back pocket. So to me, though this kid looked good in his first start, that could just be his first start, right? I think we're getting a little bit of value here, given the fact that Cleveland's just minus 130 against a young pitcher, right? Who maybe was beginner's luck that first time out. I'm not saying that it was, but sometimes we've seen guys just shove in their MLB debut and then turns out it was kind of that case, right? It was the case of beginner's luck. Going up against, a Cleveland offense who I'm still, and you guys heard me kind of go back and forth on it. Like, they went on that run, and that was when they were on that road trip, right? And now they're back home. They went 6-1-0-5-2 in their last 5 games at home. It sounds like there's more bad than good in a sense, right? But one of those games was against Zach Wheeler. One of those games was against, I want to say it was another good pitcher. I forget, maybe Aaron Nola, who I do think is good. So maybe there's a little bit of a leash we give them. I'm going to say Cleveland at home against the new pitcher, and that's kind of the reasoning and rationale. If you believe that this kid's really good or, know more about him than I do, which a lot of people probably do, then maybe there is a way to get to Milwaukee plus the money. But I also don't believe Milwaukee's bats are all that good, right? So you throw that into the mix. It's like, well, yeah, now pitching aside, Gavin Williams, who I'm trying to trust today, even pitching aside, we do probably see a better Cleveland offense, a better Cleveland bullpen, regardless of who's pitching, the first 5-6 innings, right? So give me Cleveland. In terms of what we have from a total, maybe I take a peek at Cleveland's team total over. Gavin Williams, like I said, has been decent in terms of his numbers against this Milwaukee squad. They ain't all that terrible either. Only, I think it was like 20 plate appearances against a very small sample size, but like mid 200s in terms of expected batting average. Expected WOBA like 330. So not terrible, not bad. He's keeping the ball on the ground as well. And this Milwaukee team hits a ton of ground balls. So another reason Gavin Williams could kind of get out of jams and whatnot today as well. But like I said, in terms of total, maybe take a peek at Cleveland's team total over. If you like to back Gavin Williams, it's probably just Cleveland money line and you run with it. Hey, real quick, guys, I want to talk to you about something cool that Sleeper is doing over on their app. So, first and foremost, if you sign up today, I know we're talking baseball, but you will get a Julius Randle 0.5 point square in his game tonight against the Warriors. You're also going to get that first deposit that you make doubled up to $100. You throw in $50, they'll give you 50. You now have $100 to play with in Sleeper. But the cool thing that they are doing for Guy Boston users, so if you've used my code in the past, this still applies to you, or if you want to sign up today and use the code, by the way, to apply the code, click that link down in the description, as well as the pinned comment. But if you enter a contest and place an entry today or tomorrow, you're going to get a protected pick on Friday, which is really, really cool. AKA, you're going to get like a free roll on Friday, right? And again, it's not just for new users. If you sign up today, or if you've already signed up with the code Guy Boston in the past, you will get access to that nice little special surprise, which I kind of leaked the surprise on Friday. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, that link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. If you're like, what the heck is Sleeper? Go try for yourself and find out. If you like player props, you will have a blast over there. They have more offerings, more squares, more alternate lines than most of the other competitors out there. And the great thing about them, each and every play you throw into your entry, think of it like a, 2, 3, 4 leg parlay in a sense. The more you win, the more you get paid out. But each and every leg you throw in there changes the odds and the payout dynamically. Awesome app. Been rocking with them for like over 2 years now, right? Go check it out. That link will be down in the description again and in the pinned comment. Go make an entry. Use code Guy Boston. You're going to get that free roll on Friday. Let's go ahead and dive back into these games. All right, game number 2 of Baltimore and Minnesota, and I'll be honest, this one I haven't spent much time on and don't envision myself spending all that much time on moving forward throughout the day. Chase McDermott on the mound here for Baltimore. At least that's who's listed to start. And it looks like he's pitched before, right? Yeah, last year he made 1 start. Looks like he's coming up today. And sure, if you know a lot about him and that's worth backing, maybe you look at Baltimore because they're home. I do still think that they have the better offense and all that jazz, right? He's going up against Simeon Woods Richardson, who started the season okay, but you look at his numbers now, especially on the road, yikes. So he's also a righty. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see, Baltimore get to him as well. So same thing like I liked before. We have a young pitcher on the mound, so I think that, Minnesota may be able to hit him, but I don't know too much about him, just being honest. Going up against Simeon Richardson, Baltimore's good offense against righties. So yeah, this is probably Baltimore and the over. And I hope you guys don't mind that when we have these doubleheaders, I kind of blow through them. It's true, and I would give that almost advice to anybody that like doubleheaders are really, really wonky and tough to peg in the MLB. Sure, you can find some value if you spend a lot of time on them, right? And I'm sure that we could as well. But with a 17 game slate, that means that there are 15 other games, or actually more like 13 other games, that I'd rather spend my day, and there's only so many hours in the day. So hopefully you guys aren't upset that like we blow through doubleheaders, because just for years now they haven't been my cup of tea, and yeah, we're just kind of rolling with it like that. So apologies if you're really looking for some insight in these, but I just hate doubleheaders. I do. All right, San Francisco taking on Arizona. I think we have one of our plays that definitely has a chance of being a final play tonight now on the board. I like Arizona on the money line. Now, right now you're getting them at plus 104 actually on a Profit X, which is great. Minus 102 on FD looks like your next best place, but I don't mind the idea of them on the money line, and let me tell you why. First off, Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs and a lot of changeups. That's going to be his first two pitches, right? And that makes up, like, I want to say 65% of his pitch arsenal. This is a San Fran team that, while their offense, yes, you can give them credit. They're good. They scored, 9 or 10 runs yesterday? Whatever it was. They've looked good. They also have looked pretty piss poor in the past as well, but they're dead last over the last 30 days at hitting the fastball in terms of runs above average per 100 pitches seen. So love to see that. The only guy that has a positive runs above average individually in the last 30 days in their lineup is going to be Ramos. So everyone else in their projected lineup does not hit the fastball all that well. You flip it over to the other side of things. Jordan Hicks is on the mound for San Fran. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers, which, okay, this is an Arizona team that's kind of indifferent against sinkers, but everybody in their lineup hits the slider well, in their projected lineup today. And he's going to throw the slider nearly 32% of the time. So I think they could put up some decent numbers against him. We just really have to hope that Eduardo Rodriguez is able to somewhat, suppress this Giants offense that clearly has the ability to play really well, right? So what I'm going to look at here is going to be twofold. I'm probably making both these final plays. Arizona money line, just because of the plus money. If they were like minus 125, probably wouldn't consider it. But Arizona plus money, and I also, like I said, I think that they can get to Jordan Hicks. So I'm going to roll with them. Team total over 3.5 as well. When we look at the bullpens, this is what's going to get a little dicey. This Arizona bullpen has been up and down all year long. They pitched a lot of arms yesterday, but anyone that pitched yesterday didn't go the day before. So I think their bullpen will be in decent shape. And you could say the same thing about San Fran. So sure, as the game goes on, I do think San Francisco gains a little advantage because their bullpen is, I think they're number one actually in ERA this season. So good for them. But I'm thinking that the Arizona bats should be okay to at least jump off to a decent lead. Now, the reason we're not rolling with, a first 5 team total or first 5 money line is because Eduardo Rodriguez is not like the staking my claim play of this play, right? Like, this is not totally backing him. And I don't want to go first 5 just to avoid a bullpen when I don't fully trust the pitcher that we would be backing. Hopefully that makes sense. So even though I do think San Fran gets a little bit of an advantage as the game goes on, I want those innings for, the miracle to happen or whatnot. If they had like Zach Gallen on the mound, then yes, I'd be looking at first 5 because I love the Gallen versus Hicks one-on-one matchup, and I prefer the Arizona offense. But with Eduardo Rodriguez, like, what if he goes out there and stinks in the first 5? We still have a chance throughout the whole game to go out there and score some runs as Arizona. So hopefully that does make sense, because it makes sense to me as to why, normally in a position where we have a bullpen disadvantage, we'd be taking a peek at the first 5, but that's kind of why we're not doing it today. In terms of a player prop here, and this is another one, I mean, we have a ton that we may be rolling with in this one, guys. Jordan Hicks over 4.5 hits allowed. So this game, clearly I have a lot of interest in. He's done that in plenty of games this year. So he's averaging 5.75 hits, right? In 2 games, he hasn't. So 6 of his 8 games, he's allowed that. In those 6 that he's allowed 6 or more. And last time he played Arizona, which was last year, 6 hits allowed. So yeah, as long as he's able to stay in the game, even if they hit him up, I like him to allow 5 hits. So yeah, 3 potential final plays in this one today. All right, Seattle taking on the Yankees. We have Luis Castillo on the mound going up against Will Warren. I've said it multiple times. I've been pretty damn impressed with Will Warren this season, right? I mean, he's had his ups and downs. We could say that for certain. But ultimately, like when this kid was pitching at the beginning of the year, I was like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Now he's actually looked okay. I mean, over his last 5 starts, 2.2 ERA. I think his ERA is like over 4 on the season, but last 5 starts, 2.2. He just pitched into the 8th inning against the A's. Luis Castillo, though, is having what I would consider a mediocre season for him, but still a really good season. The problem here, and the reason I like the Yankees today, mostly just to score runs. I'm not trying to say that, Will Warren is going to shut down this Seattle offense or anything like that. I do think that this could be, a decently scoring game for both teams, I should say, so slightly into the over, not all that much though. But the reason I do like the Yankees today is Luis Castillo's pitch mix, and his numbers against the Yankees have been decent over the years. They've seen him a lot, 112 plate appearances against, but he's going to throw a lot of fastballs. The Yankees number 1 in terms of runs above average in the fastball. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers. In fact, let me jump into the dashboard so I can walk you guys through this, and then right after this, I'll show you guys how to get access to the dashboard if you want access to this daily yourself. But Luis Castillo, right? Fastball, number 1 in terms of runs above average. You can even see here, a lot of the guys in this lineup hit the fastball well. Number 2 pitch, the sinker. Okay, well, number 4, and you can see here a lot of guys, not necessarily Peraza, Vivas, or Grissom, but everyone in the media that order hits that sinker really well. Then you have the slider and changeup. The slider, okay, middle of the pack. Some of these big, bats, like you look at Judge or Goldschmidt, they hit the slider well, so now that worries me if I am Luis Castillo. And then the changeup, they're also number 1, so, and only one guy on their team, negative runs above average. Peraza, who cares? So I think the Yankees are able to get to Castillo today. He's been really good, but coming off of a game like yesterday, I do think the Yankees bounce back ultimately. So yeah, give me the Yankees on the money line. And like I said, maybe a slight lean to the over as well. And guys, getting access to our Guy Boston Sports dashboard, which I believe is the best starting point when beginning your research process each and every day, it's super simple. Go to GuyBostonSports.com and head over to the members area right here. We can click on MLB dashboard. I'm not logged in, so it's going to show you exactly what you'll see. You're going to say, hey, membership required for this. You can view our membership levels. We have 3 memberships. If you're just looking for MLB, you can find that here. But if you want our NBA dashboard as well, I would recommend signing up for the All Sports dashboard. You keep that subscription active throughout the year. You're going to get our NFL and more dashboards to come as well. But say you are logged in, right? I can set this to our logged in view and head over to logged in, and then we'll head over to the MLB dashboard. So if you are logged in, you'll see what you get. So MLB dashboard, right? As this loads, each and every day you get what you'll see right in front of you, right? You get the dashboard, you can open it up, and now you get each and every game. We'll blow this up so you guys can see it a little bit better. Each and every game broken out in a visual format. You have pitching data on the left. You also have the pitch mix data and bullpen bottom left, so you can kind of compare the pitching and the situations, right? We have the season, whether they're home or away, against lefties, against righties. You can even see lefty and righty bats in the lineups over here. These are projected lineups. In the middle of your screen, you'll see some batting data. It's overall batting, in the last 30 days. Then versus righty or lefty, depending on the pitcher, it'll auto-update. And then righty away, righty home. It could be lefty home, lefty away as well. You see versus pitch as a team. And then we also have, and this is new this year, we've added in each player runs above average, which is a weighted WOBA stat, which sounds weird to say, but I love runs above average, right? For each and every player per pitch. So really cool stuff, guys. And again, this comes out every single day. And is it the end-all, be-all? Are you always going to be able to come in here and know exactly what you're rolling with, that day? Not necessarily. I mean, I do all the time, right? There's enough sometimes in here that you're like, wow, big advantage there. Let me hit it. But what I would say is this is an amazing starting point, and it helps you optimize and make your research process more and more efficient. We made this, and I've told you guys plenty recently, we made this simply to help optimize and speed up my research process each and every day. So now I come in, update the dashboard. I have each and every game in a one-shot kind of screenshot format that helps me start to believe and get down a lead in that type of thing. So go ahead and check it out. Again, GuyBostonSports.com. Head over to the members area and sign up today. Again, I'd recommend the All Sports because we have a ton of cool dashboards that come out through the year. Go and check it out, guys. It's cheaper than a Starbucks cup of coffee per month, and I really do believe in this tool. All right, game number 2, Philadelphia taking on St. Louis. Now, I know I've barked about not liking doubleheaders and whatnot. I do think that this is a pretty decent pitching matchup between, Aaron Nola and Sonny Gray. So part of what I start to like would be a first 5 under, but the thing is, it being a doubleheader probably keeps me off of it to some degree. So I'm going to trust Philadelphia still having the better bats in this spot, as well as the first 5 under ultimately. So that's what I'm going to roll with. Does it end up being something that we lock in? Again, I hate to say it, but I'm not all that certain, just given the fact that, we are looking at a game in which they have a full game of the same exact teams. Anything that happens in that game could totally impact this game. All right, Detroit taking on the Red Sox here. We have Tariq Skubal on the mound, going up against, who do we have pitching for the Red Sox? I believe it was Hunter Dobbins, right? Yeah, so to me, honestly, Dobbins hasn't looked terrible. He's not supposed to be like one of the main starters for the Red Sox team, but he is, right? He's had 4 starts. He has one where I would say he looked bad. The rest, he's looked okay, and he pitches deep into games. This Detroit offense, I think, is very good, and we even saw that. The Red Sox scored 9 runs yesterday and still lost. And at the very least, what we can say about this Red Sox team, as a Red Sox fan, they're making games entertaining. Their offense is good, right? They've scored 6+ in 3 of their last 4, but they've lost 2 of their last 4, so they're just a 50-50 ball club right now. Tariq Skubal on the mound, I think, definitely gives them an advantage on the Detroit side of things, and who knows if Dobbins is just a ticking time bomb. So this is Detroit some way, shape, or form, but obviously the odds are kind of crazy, so I'm going to actually go with a player prop that may be a little crazier. Abraham Toro, under 0.5, so alternate, under 0.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, plus 140. Here's the thing. We had his under 1.5 in the last game, right? 2 games. Was it? Yeah, 2 games ago. He was 0 for 4 coming up in the 9th inning. They were already down 1,000,000 runs, hits a home run. So we are owed by Abraham Toro, who stinks. And he's going up against Tariq Skubal here. So yeah, a hit, run, or RBI kind of hurts this. I was thinking about going under in hits for plus 115, but you know what? I don't care. I'm going under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's had 2 hits in 2 games now, and I think that he, isn't an everyday guy, anything like that. He bats lefties really poorly. I like this spot. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Detroit, maybe a Red Sox team total under, and then that Abraham Toro for plus 140 and maybe a half unit on it, going to be a player prop that we consider here today. All right, Toronto taking on Tampa Bay. I know we cashed a nice plus money play with Tampa Bay yesterday. Lucky, though, right? They had to score in the 9th inning. Today, it's a little bit different. We have Chris Bassett, who has been pretty good for this Toronto team, going up against Ryan Pepe Le Pew Pepio. Pepio's looking really good. So I do still think that there's an angle to get to. And when I say good Bassett, I kind of mean just consistent, right? Pitches into the 6th inning, is going to allow like 3 runs. So I don't mean to say he's been really good. Consistent. Pepe Le Pew, though, has been pretty consistent himself. So I do think that there's still a lean of mine to the Tampa Bay side of things, but it's like all the pitches that we're going to see from Chris Bassett should be pretty tough for Tampa Bay to hit, including the sinker and the splitter, the cutter, and fastball, which make up like over 75% of his pitch mix. So anything off speed, Tampa Bay will probably hit. Anything with some speed is going to be a little tough. So I don't think we get this down today, but I still would lean towards Tampa Bay, kind of back in Pepe Le Pew. In terms of what we have from a total, I would say an under. I think one of these pitchers is going to have a good game, most likely because the offenses on either side aren't the creme de la creme offenses, right? So I don't expect a 11-9 game yesterday, like we saw yesterday, today. So I'm going to lean under in this spot as well. I want to say we had one player prop here, so please hold. I think we had a player prop in this game. Did we? Oh, yeah, I like Vladdy. I know that, like I just said about Pepe Le Pew and whatnot, but I like Vlad against the fastball, the changeup, and the slider. Over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for minus 120. We move over to the other side of things. Cameron Misner here, he's been on fire. I kind of like his under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So 2 potential player props there, but again, I'm not as confident in this game as I was yesterday in the same exact matchup. Mets taking on Pittsburgh. So the Mets got the job done for us yesterday, right? We had them in the first 5. Was it the type of first 5 that we would think? No, they won the first 5 1-0, and it's because they scored 1 in the bottom of the first. So a little sweaty there. Today, in terms of pitching, we have Clay Holmes going up against Bailey Falter. This Mets team, you still can't knock their offense, right? And I think Falter's pitch mix is going to be perfect for what we're going to see from the Pirates today offensively. So he's going to throw the sinker. They're kind of middle of the pack there. He's going to throw the slider, and they're 4th worst in the league. So I do like this spot for, Clay Holmes. I almost want to take Pittsburgh's team total under, but the problem is, and it is a decent problem, is that I like the Mets some way, shape, or form. So just backing the pitching isn't doing enough for me. Like, I want to involve the offense, and that's how I think about baseball betting in a sense, right? Offense and pitching. You can kind of be like, oh, well, I like the pitching, so now let's focus on the offense of the other team, maybe some unders, right? But if you like both, you want to get to the side you like some way, shape, or form. So I think today may be another spot where we look at the first 5 run line. Minus 0.5 is minus 134 over on ProfitX. A lot of other books have this in the minus 150, so it may be worth taking a swing over there on the peer-to-peer. So that you could probably expect as a final play. So we'll see if we get that down because, again, it's peer-to-peer. Someone has to match the other side of it. In terms of what we have from a total, I would say that this is an under type of a game. We're still looking at what I believe is crappy weather at Citi Field, and the Mets offense, I still think, can put up, 3-4 runs, but Pittsburgh, what are they ultimately going to put up? So maybe we do also take a peek at Pittsburgh's team total under or something like that, because right now you can get them under 3.5 for -180. See, that's tough. I was hoping that we get that in the -150s. Their first 5, -145, under 1.5, that could be something we consider as well, but I don't like many runs today from the Pittsburgh side, but I think New York could score a decent amount, so kind of makes it dicey when taking that full game total. All right, Cincinnati taking on Chicago. I was honestly shocked to get burned by this one yesterday. Chicago ends up winning the game outright. I really like Cincinnati to be able to get some runs early in the game and whatnot, and we didn't see that. Now, the pitching did change, but still, I wouldn't have changed my play even with the pitching, all right? You have the opportunity on a lot of books to say, void it if these pitchers aren't the starters. What we do today is probably something similar. We have Nick Lodolo on the bump for Cincinnati. He's a lefty, so maybe that's good or bad. The Chicago team stinks, but they're a little bit better against lefties, but they're going up against Davis Martin, who really doesn't have much to show for the season so far. I'm going to go Cincinnati, but I don't know if I trust them on the first 5 anymore. So yeah, this is going to be a tough one for me. I think maybe Cincinnati team total over could be a consideration here. We do have wind blowing in, but it's going to be 75 degrees in Cincinnati there. A nice day. So I'll lean towards them, team total over, and I guess full game over in terms of what we'd like there, because again, I don't really think that Lodolo is anything special, and if that's the case, then maybe they do go out there and put up some numbers. All right, so we have Connor Joe as a potential player prop here. Now, do I like the idea of Davis Martin? No, but the changeup and the cutter could be 2 decent pitches that we can kind of fade from Connor Joe, as well as I think it was Santiago. Yeah, let's see what we got. Santiago Espinal here, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs as well. The cutter, the fastball could be tough pitches for him, but again, the problem is it's Davis Martin. Could be keeping us off some of these player props. Atlanta taking on Washington. We have Bryce Elder on the mound going up against, I misplaced the pitcher, I believe it was Mitchell Parker. This Atlanta team does struggle against lefties, Mitchell Parker being a lefty, so I worry about that. But he throws a lot of fastballs, and he's had some control issues, so maybe Atlanta does have, a decent shot here of playing well offensively. I think where I'd probably pivot to is a low-ish scoring game. I mean, yesterday we saw, 5-2 game, right? Mitchell Parker and Bryce Elder can keep this one, most likely keep the ball on the ground, so probably going to take a peek at what I guess our first 5 under today between these two teams, just because, again, I think Mitchell Parker being a lefty is going to help them out, and then the Braves, Bryce Elder, I don't have any reason to believe that they would go out there, or he would go out there and get hit around by this this Nationals offense, right? So yeah, right now you can get that for -140, under 5.5 in the first 5. I think that's going to be a look, as well as the player prop Jose Tena on the other side of things here. Against Elder, the slider and the entire pitch mix should be pretty difficult for him to hit today. So first 5 under, and Jose Tena under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. 2 player props in this one that I'm definitely liking. I guess if I had to pick a side, I'd say Atlanta, because I think that they have the better offense, better pitcher, better bullpen. But it's not by the margin that you might think it is. You look at these two squads and you're probably like, oh, Atlanta's way better. I don't know if way better is how I describe it. I do think that we could have a kind of back and forth low scoring first 5 in this one. All right, Cubs taking on the Marlins. My Boston accent really went into gear there. On the Marlins, Jameson Taillon on the mound going up against Ryan Weathers. Weathers hasn't made a start this year. He's now coming back from, I think it was a forearm injury. Don't quote me on that, but this guy was okay last year. Prior to that, really didn't do too much in terms of stuff to brag about. He is going up today against, like I said, Jameson Taillon, who honestly has been pretty damn good, and he's got the Cubs offense behind him today. So some way, shape, or form, I do like the Cubs. They are pretty pricey right now, even in the first 5 with this bad weather, and we saw them, finally get the win yesterday, but they ended up, not really doing it in the first 5. They tied in the first 5, which means we lost our first 5 play. Ryan Weathers, I can't expect to be all that fantastic today, right? Like, it just doesn't really compute. He's coming in, he's probably on somewhat of a pitch limit. This is a bad bullpen. I think I'm going to go Cubs first 5 run line, but again, I'm admitting that there's a little bit of a price tag there, and the fact that we have really bad wind in Wrigley again makes it a little dicey, but I think it is going to be something that we ultimately trust and want to roll with. So Cubs run line. In terms of a total, I don't mind the first 5 under because of that weather, but no pun intended, what are we going to get out of Ryan Weathers? Makes it a little questionable. From a player prop perspective, I do believe we had a Marlins under here that I was considering. Wagman under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Yes. So Wagman doesn't hit righties well. 230 average on the year, 211 average against righties. The fastball he hits, but then you go slider, cutter, curveball, all which he probably could struggle against. So I would say I'm either going to go with him or the first 5. If you see, this is because of the wind and how it could be volatile. I probably won't roll with both plays today, but both of those are kind of on the front burner, if you will. Texas taking on Colorado. So I think we could say this one's fairly interesting, right? Because you're going to have a lot of people sitting there being like, well, Texas is the better team, but it's Patrick Corbin Day. Patrick Corbin has been awesome this year. And maybe awesome is a stretch, but I do think that he's been so much better than people give him credit for. Now his ERA number looks good. His whip looks okay. You start to get more and more advanced. It's like, whoa, he's letting a lot of guys on base. His FIP isn't all that great, blah, blah, blah. But he's going to throw the slider and sinker, and you're going to be hard-pressed to find a team like the Rockies or better. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a team that hits those pitches worse than the Rockies. Beautifully said, Ev. It only took you 3 tries. So I think that this could be a spot in which, okay, screw the offense. Everyone's going to be fading Corbin because that's what they do. Why don't we just take a peek at Colorado team total under 4.5? I think you can get that for a respectable price right now. If you can get plus money on the 3.5, I don't mind that either. I will say Patrick Corbin against this Colorado team doesn't exactly have the most favorable numbers, but they're not all that terrible. And this Colorado team, barely scores, right? I mean, look at their recent game log here. 1-1-9, okay. 0-9, both those in Colorado, by the way. 1-2, 6, 3-3. Like, this team struggles to get to that 4-run number. So, yeah, kind of like the idea of Patrick Corbin having a decent game today, pitching the slider. Maybe the Texas bullpen is able to keep him under wraps as well. Colorado team total under 3.5 is something that I'm considering because you're getting some decent value at, what do we have right now? Yeah, minus 105 for 3.5. So I was thinking it was going to be plus. It's not, but I still think that minus 105 is a fair enough price tag. I wish we could pay the juice and get 4.5, but it's a little bit pricey right now. Give me 3.5 and call it a day. That's how we kind of back Texas and Corbin without having to back their bats. So that's kind of a hybrid of the side and the total. Didn't even talk about pitching on the Colorado side of things because we're kind of focusing on a low-ish scoring game. It's Antonio Sensatella. Yeah, Texas probably could get to him. So if you like Texas run line, first 5 run lines, something like that, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you whatsoever. I think that could obviously be somewhat of a spot of potential play. One spot that I'm also looking at, and it's Brenton Doyle here against Patrick Corbin. He hits lefties really well, but he doesn't hit the slider well, doesn't hit the cutter well, and that's going to be a big chunk of the pitch mix from Corbin, so that's something that I'm thinking of, but I don't know, much like we just talked about with the Cubs and then the player prop, it's like we probably only want one play on this game, and I think I'm leaning towards that team total under. Houston taking on Kansas City. So we split in this game yesterday, right? We had Houston's team total over, but we also had them on the on the money line. You could tell that they were going to not hit that team total. It was a low-scoring game. In fact, Kansas City went up, but then Houston bounced back right away. Both pitchers looked good. Bubic went into the 7th inning. I think Valdez pitched 8 innings, right? So, yeah, we could sit here and say Houston looked pretty good. Today, in terms of what we have from a pitching matchup, we have what's his name? A pitcher I'm not the most familiar with, Colton Gordon on the mound for Houston. This is going to be his debut. He's going up against Michael Lorenzen, who really, I guess you could say has struggled on the road, but not the biggest of sample sizes. I still think Houston can get to Lorenzen. So I'm kind of putting the idea around of another Houston team total play. In fact, that's probably what we'd end up rolling with because I like Houston's odds here on the money line, but and again, I don't like to BS you guys. Like, I don't know anything really about this young pitcher. I know a lot of guys in this industry are good at that, and they know, specific guys or bullpen guys, or excuse me, prospectual guys and whatnot. I get it. I'm not one of them. I mean, I very rarely know the ins and outs of the 24-year-old making his debut type of thing. I think this guy might be a little bit older than that. But nonetheless, I don't know enough about Colton Gordon. I do know that he pitches from the left side, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, yeah, Kansas City can't hit lefties. Maybe Houston money line is the move. I think I'm just going to look at their team total over again. Go score 4 runs. You didn't do it yesterday, but now you got Lorenzen on the mound who's going to throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders. You hit both those pitches well. If he mixes in the sinker, you hit those well. Just go score some runs, Houston. San Diego taking on the Angels. So we like the first 5 under in this one yesterday. Don't think I'm going to be going back to that today. I think San Diego could really get to Kyle Hendricks. He does throw a lot of changeups, and they're pretty bad against the changeup, so I will give him credit there. But ultimately, this is such a better offense than we're seeing on the LA side of things. So I would say San Diego first 5 run line, and maybe their team total over. Again, we liked a low-scoring game yesterday. Not so much today. I'd say team total over, because Randy Vasquez is pitching for the Padres, and he started the season really good and pitched really well. Not exactly my favorite pitcher to back. So San Diego, some way, shape, or form, whether it's their team total, whether it's their run line, first 5 run line, in the over is what I'm taking a peek at in this one because I'm fading the pitchers. Dodgers taking on the Athletics. We have Dustin May on the mound against the Hog, Gunnar Hoglund, 1-0 on the season, 2.3 ERA. He honestly has looked pretty good right now. It was against Miami. That seems like an easy start, but he went up against Seattle, who has been a very good offense in his most recent start. So I think this guy is decent. The problem is both those squads, whether Seattle's a decent offense or not, they're not the Dodgers, right? So this is probably a Dodgers spot, but I don't necessarily think that they absolutely smash around Gunnar Hoglund. I'm going to lean towards the under in this spot, as well as Dodgers run line or first 5 run line, but I like the under 8.5. We have Dustin May on the mound. I've also seen a couple spots saying Yamamoto, so I want to check that because I feel like Dustin May pitched really, really recently, but if it's Yamamoto, it just helps the under even more. You know what I mean? Like, I would trust that. But Dustin May, I feel like pitched fairly recently, like 3 starts ago, and Yamamoto, more or less, it's his turn up. So yeah, I've seen that name. I've seen both names across the interwebs, in terms of who's pitching. So regardless, I think that if Yamamoto pitches, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's going to help the idea of a full game under, because I think that he's even better than Dustin May. So yeah, I'm going to go with the under in this one. Dodgers probably to some degree on the run line. And guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Go ahead and comment 36. Can't believe it. You made it 36 minutes into the video. Appreciate you spending time with me each and every day. I mean that to the fullest. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.